Oh, there you are. I was busy enjoying the intro. I didn't even know I had been dunked in. Welcome, my friends. Today I'm going to show you Microsoft Project. The Microsoft Project everyone runs away from. I'm scared of Microsoft Project. It's going to eat me alive. I can't count how many people have told me they're scared of Microsoft Project. So I showed up today to put an end to it. Especially for those of you who are PMPs, CAPMs, any kind of project management education. By the time I'm done, yeah, you won't be scared of Microsoft Project ever again, hopefully. But you got to stay on the call. All right, let's jump straight in. Microsoft Project in 15 minutes. Just 15 minutes is all I'm asking. After 15 minutes, if I haven't delivered, drop off the call. This is going to be extremely rapid. For those of you that haven't met this guy called Phil, this character, that's him. He is a PMP and also a CSM, alphabet soup, right? Project management professional, certified scrum master, and many, many other certifications. But most importantly, I've been using Microsoft Project since 2000. And oh dear, I hate to say it because now you're going to know how old I am. But since 2003, oh my gosh, that is 22 years old in the software. That is a long time. Some of you were not even born, in '03. But I've been doing this for a while. I've done this for various organizations. I started off selling my Microsoft Project training on eBay back in the day when eBay was the site before Jeff Bezos took over back in those days. Anyway, I've trained lots of organizations worldwide in project management, in leadership for the PMP exam, and beyond. And these are some of my esteemed clients. So you're in good hands. You're in good hands. Speaking of good hands, some of you run away from Microsoft Project because you think you're not in good hands. This describes the personas that tell me, Phil, I don't want to do anything with Microsoft Project. It's scary. It's a beast. So I have the people who have to learn Microsoft Project, but they're scared. And I have the people who learn Microsoft Project the wrong way. And when they learn the right way, they're scared as well because they know all their schedules that they've done are mush. I hope today you'll discover one or two new things in scheduling. My curriculum for today is the basics of scheduling, setting up a project plan, adding tasks and milestones, linking dependencies, assigning resources if you've got enough time to do that, viewing Gantt charts and views, no fluff, just the basics. So why is this important, my friends? This is important because every project manager, every PM, every single PM, the moment you tell people I'm a project manager, you know what they're thinking. They're thinking, oh, it's that control freak. You're going to get us under control. And the control they're thinking of is pretty much the timeline, which is why people always incorrectly say, I'm building a project plan. What is a project plan? This. And they show you a Gantt chart. That's not a project plan. Those of you who are PMPs and CAPMs know a project management plan needs to have a number of dimensions: schedule, cost, scope, quality, resources, communications, risk, procurement, stakeholder, maybe even safety in some companies. So it's important to delineate scheduling from project management planning. But scheduling is part of project management planning. So that's where the confusion comes from. But why this is so important, I'm going to be biased here. This gave me my big break in project management. This was the biggest break ever. I got the opportunity to work for a company out in Phoenix, Arizona, an environmental engineering firm. And it was through Microsoft Project I got into the firm. They were looking for a scheduler. I wasn't a PMP at the time. But in that firm, I met my mentor. And she said, Phil, I think you should take the PMP. So I did take the PMP. But my roots of project management, after I got done with my master's degree, I started getting into Microsoft Project. And that's how I got into the world of PMP eventually. So it was Microsoft Project first, then PMP. Now you know why I'm so passionate about it. But it's very important because a project manager without a schedule is a disaster, a train wreck. You need the schedule. The schedule is not just helping you, it's putting everyone on the same page. So, a project manager without a schedule is like a workman with no tools. How do you tell me you're a PM and then you cannot schedule? This is the bread and butter of project management. All right, let me move on. I'm speaking to the choir. I'm sure lots of you already know this. So, let's jump into project management. Okay, I'm back. I think I hit the wrong button, so I apologize for that. I hit the wrong button, but let me go back to share my screen. I think I hit close, which is one of the dangers of using StreamYard. But anyway, I'm back, and hopefully this will integrate nicely when I take a look at the recording. So here we go. So I wanted to show you the basics of project management. The basics are as follows. You've got initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling and closing. So there are five stages, you could say, in project management, or five groups of processes. And for scheduling, where you are most of the time is in planning and monitoring and controlling. Planning is where you build a schedule, monitoring and controlling is where you check the schedule to ensure that things are going according to plan. So this is like the holy grail of PMBOK, PMI, stuff that you already know. So when you go through the five process groups, the section that we are right now is right here in planning, in scheduling. And I'm going to show you very quickly how you can develop a schedule if you are in the planning aspect. All right. So let's go over to Microsoft Project. Get your Microsoft Project schedules open. If you don't have Microsoft Project, you might have heard of Project Libre, which is free. So Project Libre can be downloaded. A lot of what I'm doing here, if you feel, oh, Phil, I'm not able to do it, I don't have Microsoft Project, just download Libre and do exactly what I'm going to do right now. Okay. So let's jump into the Microsoft Project app. All right. So in Microsoft Project, on the home screen, you got blank project. So imagine you are in planning and you have a project to plan. The first thing you want to do in Microsoft Project, and I'm just going to show you the very, very basics. There's a lot more that happens under the hood, but we won't go there today. For now, we're just going to adjust the manually scheduled to auto schedule, right? So we're going to click auto schedule right here at the bottom. You see that? Okay, let's go full screen. So I have selected auto schedule because this is a way you can use the brain of Microsoft Project. In order to use Microsoft Project's brain fully, you got to activate auto schedule. It's like going on turbo. So now that we are in auto schedule, I'm going to show you a simple project. We want to eat cake. We want to have a great time. We want to have a birthday party of some sort. So we got to bake cake. So we're going to do a number of things. We are going to type in our schedule activities. But wait, there's actually more information I need to share with you. And in order to ensure you get the full picture of scheduling, I need to teach you PMI's arcane scheduling arts. How many of you know PMI's arcane arts? Type in all the seven processes, or the six rather, of scheduling. If you know, I'm going to show you right now. There's six things you need to do as a scheduler, and I think this is really going to help those of you that haven't been here before we get into all the fun in Microsoft Project. Okay, so here we go. Six things in scheduling. And for those of you that already went to the link, schedule management, you're going to see in that handout, there's six things. Here's the first one. Number one, have a plan for your schedule. Don't just start scheduling. You must have a plan for how you're going to schedule, who's going to be involved, what is the format for the schedule, and so on. That's number one. So always plan before you schedule. Number two, define the activities. This is what I was about to do. So in defining activities, we create a list of activities There could also be some activity attributes, leads and lags could come into the picture. I'll tell you what those are maybe at a later date. Milestones are zero duration events that signify something of significance has been accomplished. So that's there as well. The third thing is sequencing the activities, putting them in logical order of occurrence, linking the activities, and being aware of the critical path. We get project schedule network diagrams on the back end, which hardly anyone looks at these days, but they're there on the back end showing you a graphical representation of how the activities are linked. Then we have estimate activity durations. We estimate the durations for the activities. Then the schedule is developed. But that's not the end. PMI says go a step further. Be a fearless project manager, someone who holds the team accountable with the schedule, making schedule forecasts, updating the schedule baselines, and so on. All right. So there's 6 things that you need to know that a project manager does in scheduling: plan schedule management, define the activities, sequence the activities, estimate the activity durations, developing the schedule, and controlling the schedule. Okay. I know it's a lot of stuff. And I know some of you on lunchtime, you got to bookmark this and come back to it. All right. So let's come out of that and let's go back into our Microsoft project now that you understand where we're going. Okay, so this is where we're going. We are going to develop a schedule for eating cake. Like I said, we are happy, we're excited. There's a birthday of one sort or the other, or one celebration, and we got to eat cake. So we're going to do our research, the ingredients. That's task 1. Okay, remember what I'd done previously. I had already set this to auto schedule. All right, so we're going to research ingredients. Then we are going to drive to the store. We're going to buy the ingredients. We're going to mix the ingredients. We are going to turn on the oven. We are going to bake the cake. And then we're going to eat the cake. Eat the cake. And then we are going to clean up. Boom, we just got a list of activities. We call it an activity list. Some people call it a task list. But did you see what happened? The moment I typed that in, a number of things happened. We had the Gantt chart begin to appear on the right. We had some suggested start and finish dates, and we had suggested durations. Now, because I want to make this project as easy as I can, I am going to exaggerate the durations just for the demonstration, okay? But before you type anything else in, you want to establish, when is this going to happen? It may not be happening today. Maybe it's happening next week. Maybe it's already started and we're building a schedule for something that happened in the past. If that was the case, you would go to project and you click on project information and you just select the date that you want. So the start date, we could say the start date is in the future. Let's say it's on the 20th. Hit 20th, and I want you to see what happens. The moment you hit 20th, the start of the project is going to change accordingly. Take a look. Boom, it's now 20th. So assuming this started on the 20th, remember what I told you from PMI, plan schedule management, define the activities, sequence the activities. Sequencing the activities means you are putting them in the order of occurrence and you're linking them. What we're going to do right now is link all of these with a simple, what we call finish to start relationship. And there are 4 relationship types in scheduling. Those of you who are PMPs, you already know. CAPMs, you already know. Finish to finish, start to start, start to finish. All that stuff, it exists, right? But we're going to use a simple finish to start. And to do that, we're going to observe the line item here. This is line 1. This is line 2. Because I've already put them in logical order, I just need to link them. 1 linked to 2, linked to 3, and so on. So the predecessor of line 2 is line 1. I'm going to type in 1, and I want you to see what happens in this area on the right over here. The moment I type in 1, boom, it's linked. I type in a 2, linked, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7. Boom, I've linked them all. Now, assuming there were some other relationship types I wanted to include in this, let's say I wanted to do mix ingredients and turn on oven at the same time, I could make this turn on oven instead of a for, I could type in a for start to start. Boom, and I have a start to start relationship in there. So if you're using a start to start, it's SS. If you're using a finish to start, you just type the number in. If you're using a finish to finish, you would use an FF. So let me type in a milestone of customer happy. Okay. So customer happy is going to have a predecessor of 8. But assuming I wanted it to be a finish to finish relationship, I could say 8 finish finish. And there you see the finish to finish relationship. So this is what excites me about Microsoft Project beyond the other less glamorous alternatives. I'm trying to be polite here. Microsoft Project is the number one on the scene that gave you all 4. A lot of the other scheduling tools, they don't give you finish to finish, they don't give you start to start, don't even mention start to finish, right? But Microsoft Project gives you all of them. So you can make your schedule as realistic as possible. That's what excites me about Microsoft Project, right? So right now, what have we done? We did define activities. Now we did sequence activities. We've linked them in logical order of occurrence. And I'll just say that there are many ways you can link a set of tasks. It really depends on whoever is scheduling. So, based on your experience and based on what you can do in the tool, you may choose to do things a certain way. All right. Now, I want you to observe there's certain rules in Microsoft Project. There's certain do's and don'ts, and I am going to have to teach you. I know I hear people groaning already. More rules. Yeah, I got to teach you more rules. So let me teach you the rules of the game. 7 rules. 7 things you want to do and 7 things you don't want to do in Microsoft Project. Are you ready? All right, let me show you this real quick before we move back. I'm trying to give you some good information that will help sustain you. If you never went for a Microsoft Project training course ever again, I at least want to make sure you have got this part down pat so that you're not confused. All right? Okay. Let's go to the 7 rules for Microsoft Project. 7 things you absolutely want to do. I call these do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts for Microsoft Project. You see, the problem is a lot of people didn't learn this. So they get into Microsoft Project and they begin typing in dates, and that's not how to do it. Let's talk about the do's. Number 1, use the auto scheduler like I did. Turn it on. Number 2, link tasks properly, as you've seen me start to do. You ensure the logical task connections. No task should be left unconnected. Number 3, we want reality driven tasks. We want you to tie all tasks to real deliverables and dependencies. Number 4, we want you to use the right scheduling method. So in Microsoft Project, we got fixed duration, fixed work, and fixed units. This is what scares people. If your project is a fixed duration, no matter what you do, that duration is fixed. Put 20 people on it, it's still going to take a month. Use fixed duration. Use fixed work when the work is constant. So if you have 5 people working 2 hours, 10 hours, right? Whether you have 5 people working 2 hours or you have 10 people working 1 hour, the work is fixed, right? So when we say work, we're talking about hours. Fixed units, when the resource percentage is fixed, Phil is only available for 50% of the time, and that's all you're going to get from him. Then we use fixed unit. You see why it's so tricky? And we could say the formula for these 3 is always dynamic and moving around. But when you use fixed duration, you take away the need for unnecessary thinking of, oh, why has my schedule moved? There's a number of things that I need to tell you, but I don't have enough time. So I'll just leave it at that. Number 5, conduct a what if scenario analysis. Always have a separate version of your Microsoft project. Always ensure when you're changing anything, you've got a plan B to go back to before you made the changes. Because once you make the change, if you're not able to go back, you've messed up the entire schedule. Take it from someone who's been doing this for 20 years, my friends. Effort driven scheduling, turn it off. Turn it off. Except you understand how this works. You want to look for effort driven scheduling and you want to turn it off except needed because you will have a lot of unintended changes. And I want to say about 95% of the PMs I've met, they don't even need to be using effort driven scheduling. So turn it off if you don't need it. All right. Number 7, involve task owners. The best way to build a schedule is to get people doing the work. Get accurate estimates from those doing the work. Get them in the room. Don't guess it. Get the people in the room. All right. Here are the rules of the game, the don'ts. Very quick. Number 1, don't enter dates directly into Microsoft Project. You got to avoid hard coding the dates. Number 2, don't leave tasks unlinked. The whole idea about the train station and the carriages and the front is the engine. And as the engine is moving, how would you like to be left behind in the carriage in the station? You wouldn't like that, right? So don't do it in MS Project. Always link the tasks. Task 1 linked to something else. Task 2 linked to something else logically. So ensure that all tasks, except the first and the last, all tasks should have a predecessor or successor. The first task should have a successor. The last task should have a predecessor. All the other tasks should have both. Okay? Don't create a Microsoft project schedule with tasks hanging in limbo. That's illegal. Don't do it. Okay, number 3, avoid bogus dependencies. Avoid artificial dependencies. Use real world constraints. If the tasks aren't truly linked, don't just link them for linking's sake. Don't use fixed units or fixed work without a purpose. Only use complex scheduling when required. Some folks don't know. This is why they're scared of Microsoft Project because they see changes that they didn't bargain for. Why do they get the changes? Because they got effort driven scheduling on and they're using fixed units or fixed work without purpose. Number 5, don't skip backup versions. Save a second version of whatever you're doing before making major changes. Trust me, you will cry. You will. So always have a plan B that you've saved. Always back up. Number 6, avoid arbitrary resource adjustments. Adjust tasks logically. Don't randomly add or remove resources. Number 7, don't ignore resource over allocations. If you are using resource loading and you've got resources in there, address those reallocations promptly. Okay. Now I've given you that lay of the land. Let's go back to our schedule to wrap this up. This is going to go very quick from here. I promise. Okay, back to Microsoft Project. So, before I showed you the cardinal rules, we were here, right? We'd done define activities and we had done sequence in the activities. Now we're going to do estimate activity durations. And I'm just going to arbitrarily put numbers in just for the sake of the illustration. So let's put in for researching the ingredients, for driving to the store, it's miles away, buying the ingredients, we'll leave it as 1. Note that there's a question mark. You have to type on top of that question mark for it to go away. Otherwise, it will stay. And sometimes it comes up with pop-ups suggesting things that need to be done. Depending on what your preferences are, always just say okay or say don't disturb me ever again. I don't want to see this notice ever again, depending on how versed you are with the tool. All right. Customer is happy. That's a 0 duration event. We call that a milestone. We're going to make that a milestone. So what have we done? Define activities, sequence activities, estimate activity durations. Boom. That's your schedule. Look, a schedule is not even the Gantt chart. Even if we're not showing the Gantt chart, this really is your schedule. It's your start and it's your finish dates for all the activities. That's what the schedule is. So everything else is gravy, right? So when we use the resource name column, that's gravy. That's not necessarily your schedule. But in today's professional world, there's an expectation that you as a project manager should understand how to resource load at least. See? So there are many ways you can resource load. You can type the names directly in, or you could go to one of the views. You could go to the resource sheet view, and from here you can type in resource names. So let's type in a few resource names, and let's say Ben. Okay, we'll put in a few names. And I will also take liberties to put in some standard rates. Oh, I see my friend David is asking a question. Thank you for coming on, my friend. Can this also generate me an S curve and EVM? So you can get earned value management metrics for sure. ACWP, BCWP, BCWS, all that stuff. Absolutely. The only thing about the S curve, I would rather create my S curve in Excel. That's what I used to do back in the day when I used earned value at Honeywell. We didn't use Microsoft Project, we used a different tool. But I found that Excel could be extremely helpful in generating your S curves and your graphs. It does it a lot better than I would say Microsoft Project even could. So that would be my preference, but great question. All right. So putting in some standard rates, we'll put in some numbers for our employees, just some random numbers here. All right. So we have the resource names and we have their rates. Let's go back to the Gantt chart view. And now that we're in the Gantt chart view, we can actually click on this drop down and select people who we want to assign to the different tasks, just like that. Or you could just type them in directly and their names would be suggested. And bear in mind that what you're doing in allocating these resources is actually also assigning some monetary figures. Ah, let me show you how that works. So, for those of you who need to hop off the call, the 15-minute basics is over. For those of you who are brave enough to weather the storm of actual cost and all the other barrage of stuff that I'm going to show, stay behind for another 15 minutes. But if you just wanted the bare basics, what I showed you as far as the activities and all that, that's how you do it. Just make sure you don't type in dates. Make sure you do not start off without turning this auto schedule on. And if you need to go behind the scenes and go into fixed duration, do that. Okay. For those of you that are able to stay behind a little bit longer, let's go ahead and finish this thing because there's a little bit more I need to show you before we can eventually land. All right. So what I wanted to show you, let's right click and insert a column that shows the cost, the damage done. Uh-oh, this is going to be a rather expensive cake by the time all is said and done. But I did it intentionally because I wanted to show you the big numbers and get you comfortable with seeing numbers in the thousands. That's how it looks. So right now, this is a plan. You got to understand this is not in operation at all. This is just a plan. This is what we are anticipating. So if you right click and insert actual cost, there's no actual cost. This is all just what we're planning. The moment you begin working, you see these costs going crazy, going up. Okay. So when you are working in a Microsoft project, if you're resource loading and cost loading, these are fancier things you could reveal. But the typical project manager that I've seen in lots of firms, and I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of firms, they don't get involved in this stuff. Let's hide that column. Let's hide this column. They don't get involved in all that stuff. But I'm anticipating there might be people who want to use it because true story, in a previous firm I worked for, my job was resource loading and I had 19 different projects in a program and cost loading. And that was my whole job. That was my entire job, doing that on a daily basis, making sure that our government client was happy because our government client loved Microsoft Project and wanted to go into the schedule through the server and ensure that we did what we promised. So you got to understand, when you're working with military, they don't play games. Everything has to be on schedule. So my job was to keep the customer satisfied. Okay. As a result of that, I had to keep track of all these things: actual costs, the cost itself, and it all had to reflect the invoicing, all had to be synced. It was quite a challenging task. And that's where I caught my teeth and became a Microsoft Project junkie, self professed. All right, so let's right click and add something else. Let's insert a column and let's type in actual start and another column called actual finish. Okay, because I want you to get the full picture of this. Okay, so we have tasks, we have costs, and then we also have resources. Okay, what I am going to do next will be familiar to those PMPs, CAPMs who studied that. You ever heard of baselining? And everyone says, what is a baseline? Well, a baseline is the original plan, the plan that was approved by management. See? So if management approves this budget, take a look. If management approves all of these, then you have the beginnings of your baseline. But you don't really have a baseline yet. We got to set that baseline. So I'm going to show you how to set the baseline. Okay. To set your baseline, you of course want to reveal the baseline fields. But before we reveal the baseline fields, we probably need to let management know the total amount as at now. Okay, so for the total amount as at now, we're going over to this Gantt chart format and we're going to choose this project summary task. And what that does is it sums up all the monies and shows you the total cost for the project as is. When you name the file, when you save the file and name the file, this takes the name of the file. So right now we have $6,776 for a cake. This cake had better be good. So if management has approved this, by the way, we have some resource over allocations here. And what this is telling us is Mary is probably not the best resource to use here because you've given her too much. You know, that's my mentor's name. I always use Mary as one of my examples. So let's take Mary out and the resource over allocations, they go away, right? It's very helpful for you to know how the tool works because you can just take the bomb apart and stop, the potential disaster. What makes people scared of Microsoft Project is when they don't know and then they have things like this popping up all over the place and they don't know how to remove them. Okay. But if you are really looking to learn more about this, just go to microsoftprojecttraining.com and you can take a full-on course on this. But anyway, back to the story. Let's insert our baseline. I want to show you all the baselines. Baseline start. And let's insert our baseline finish. All right, so we have our baseline start and finish. This is priceless, especially for managements that are nervous or suspicious of their people, because they're always going to ask, is this what we agreed to? What did we agree to? But if you freeze the baseline, it's there, it's etched in stone. Okay, so how do we save our baseline? We go over to project and we look for set baseline right here. We click on set baseline, hit set baseline, and I want you to look at what happens the moment I hit entire project, just the first baseline, because you got the option of 10 other baselines. So if your project is changing quite frequently, you can have several baselines. I just love what Microsoft did. Gave you 10 plus 1, 11. That is really awesome. 11 baselines. I don't know, but I got to give a shout out to Bill Gates and his people for doing this because honestly, apart from Primavera, this would be the only other one I say, yeah, you got to learn this. If you're in construction, Primavera is, of course, what a lot of companies use, a lot of engineering firms. But if not, Microsoft Project is in fact, I would suggest learning Microsoft Project first. So did you see what happened? Let's do that again. I just hit it absent-mindedly. Set baseline, and the moment you say okay, watch what is going to happen. These baseline fields are going to be populated. And for special effect, let's just insert the baseline cost. I need you to see these things, okay? Baseline costs. Look at what happens the moment you hit set baseline. The baseline start, finish, and cost are all populated. Boom! Check that out. My friend Joel. Joel, how you doing? Good to see you. Good old Billy G. Billy G is the one. Anyway, jokes apart, good to see you, Joel. And my friend Luisa, very good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Hope it's going nice in Mexico over there. Very good. So, my friends, the moment you go ahead and hit that baseline button, you got the baseline start, the baseline finish, the baseline cost. And what this does is anchor you back to reality. So, as you're freewheeling and having a great time on your project, spending money, guess what's going to happen? The baseline is going to wake you to reality. Well, you're going to go over budget if you continue like that. You see. So over here, my friends, over here. Remember, we have actual start, actual finish, and actual cost. Now, to show you the flexibility in this tool, let's go back to our project information and let's assume our project actually started last week. So let's go with the 6th. I want to show you something. The moment, this is why you don't type dates in forcibly. Look at the brilliance of the tool. Billy and the gang, they did a great job. The moment you hit OK, boom, it goes back to the 6th of January without drama. No questions asked. You want me to start the project? Okay. And it takes all of that information, and like the train leaving the station, the carriages follow. Do you understand my excitement? I'm just geeking out over Microsoft Project's brilliance right now. It is truly, truly a brilliant tool. But anyway, look at the damage that's about to be done. So we have this baseline cost. We have a cost. By the way, this is the forecast. This is not the actual cost. This is the actual cost. Let's move it closer so you can see what's going on. All right. So right now we don't have any actual cost. No one's done any work. How do you track work in Microsoft Project? Right click, insert, and let's choose percent complete. Not percent work complete. That's for a different purpose. Percent complete. Now, I want you to take a look at the brilliance of the tool. I just love the Gantt chart, because when you show management a Gantt chart, they get it. They don't even need to look at all the tasks. They just say, that one, what's going on with that one? And they see those that are in trouble. They see those that are completed, those are not. So let's go ahead and with research ingredients, let's say we're 100% done. The moment we type in 100%, a number of things happen. First of all, you're going to see a progress bar going through this task, research ingredients. And then on top of that, you're also going to see your cost. Don't you want to see your cost go up? It's a good thing when you're spending money, because if you're not, it means your project isn't moving forward. All right, let's go ahead and let's type in 100. Watch what happens. Watch what happens. Two things. Watch the progress bar and watch the actual cost. Boom. And it matches. It matches. The baseline cost, see that? 1920, and the progress bar. Now, assuming, let me undo that. Okay. Assuming somewhere along the way, a team member decided, oh, that was a wrong estimate. We actually need more people on this task. So we add more people, hit enter. I want you to take a look. The projected cost is now way more than the baseline. See? So even if you made that change for one reason or another, and you went ahead and worked the task, Microsoft Project is going to keep track of your actual cost, your cost, but look at your baseline. You are double and even more the baseline. So this is why a baseline could be very helpful, and this is why some managements, they use baselines a lot. And it's not even a thing of distrust. It's really a thing of record keeping, because we're humans. Who has brain space for 1920 for task one, 520? You're going to forget, but the baseline is going to retain it. You see, the baseline is going to tell you, well, this was the original picture. This is what the prediction is, and this is what is actually happening. Do you see all those numbers are different? The actual cost, the cost, which is the futuristic projected thought, and the baseline, what you originally said it would be. So all the time in Microsoft Project, these things are moving around, my friends. These things are moving around. So what have I shown you so far? I showed you define activities, right? I showed you sequencing the activities. I showed you estimating the duration. Boom, you got your schedule. The schedule, it even comes with buy one, get one free. Buy the schedule, get the Gantt chart free. It's pretty cool, the Gantt chart, right? And everyone copied Microsoft Project, but they were the originators. They started it. And we have a lot of other tools today that are in the market space. They're very simple, they're very visual. But if you are on a big project that has a lot of moving parts and a lot of people, I'm telling you, I don't want to call them out, but they know who they are. Those other tools, can't stand up to Microsoft Project. They can't. And I'll protect the not so innocent. I won't tell you their names. You know who they are. Or you go on YouTube and they keep throwing ads at you. Nah, we won't go there. But there you have it, my friends. Let's wrap up. I got to let you get back to work. Those of you in the United States and Mexico, I know you still got a work day to fulfill. So I'm going to let you do that. But we're going to round up now with the last piece of the puzzle. Last piece of the puzzle. I want to show you the last parts of my presentation so that when you're out of here, you will truly remember how Microsoft Project should be used. Okay. So here's a quick recap on some of the things we took a look at. We opened Microsoft Project. We typed in the project start date, the project name. When you save it, you give it the project name. And then we assigned different tasks, right? We typed in the task name, we set the duration, we even created one milestone at the end. And while I didn't add detailed descriptions, I want you to know that Microsoft Project can do that. You just need to double click and it opens up a box and shows you. I should probably show you this. Let me change my view because I don't want to go away and say, I wish I had shown them. I should have shown them. Let me show it to you right now. Let me show you everything. Let's just use. Okay, let's use this. All right, so I can move fluidly in and out. So what I'm talking about is this. Let's bring up Microsoft Project. So if you're on any task and you wanted to add in more information, just double click. Double click, and this is a task information box. It's got the predecessor information, resource information, as you can see. But you know what I love the most? It's the notes. It's the notes. You can type in notes and notes and notes and notes till the cows came home. So, like those of you that have studied PMP and we talk about activity attributes. Well, these are your activity attributes right here. And you can put in a whole lot of information. You can insert objects. It's pretty cool. Okay. So when it comes to the task information window, that is your secret box for you to put in information that the people doing the work tell you, and you don't want it in full view. You can put in task information. All right, we talked about link dependencies, start to start, finish to finish to start. Talked about all that stuff. I open up the resource sheet view. I put in the resources. We gave them some different salaries per hour, and then went back to the Gantt chart view. I didn't show you a lot about the customization of the Gantt chart, but just be aware that you can always customize the Gantt chart. You can choose how you want the bar styles to look. You can change the color of your schedule. You could choose for it to appear differently. The shape, you could choose a different shape. You could just go to town and there you see it's changed in appearance. And there's some presets that you can use. When you right click on this bar, this timescale bar, you've got the opportunity of making it weeks or days or hours or minutes or years. You can choose the scale based on whatever you need. Okay. And then you can zoom in or out for better visibility. So over here, a lot of people don't see the hidden magnifying thing over here on the right, but you can zoom out or you can zoom in. And if you go back to task, there's something I would call the panic button. If you wanted to scroll to the task, like, oh, where's my schedule? It's gone missing. You just highlight any of the tasks and you click on this scroll to task button up here. Boom, there it is. There's your project. It didn't go away. It's still there. I remember freaking out in those early days. My project's gone. All right. Always set a project baseline for your project, update the tasks, use critical path features where you can. That's a totally different day. We can't go there today. Save your work frequently to avoid loss. Keep using the tool, my friends, and mentor people with what you learned. Just bookmark the video, right? Go back to the video, watch the video. What did that crazy guy called Phil say again? Oh, he said we shouldn't type dates in. And then you relearn it. All right. Follow me on LinkedIn. Follow me on YouTube. So on YouTube at Praizion, if you're serious in taking a course, if you want to be like some of my friends who've taken the Microsoft Project Fast Track Turbo, which it'll get you flying like real quick. And a shout out to our friend Lenora, who actually came on the course in the beginning. You see, this is what I like about some of my PMP gurus. They're serious. Day two of 2025, Nora said, I got to learn this Microsoft project. Came on MicrosoftProjectTrain.com. Boom, she's done it. She's gotten her badge. She's gotten her certificate. She's built her schedules. If that sounds like something you want to do, go to MicrosoftProjectTraining.com and come on the bandwagon. And we've had so many PMPs come through. A shout out to all of our students who have come through and have gone the Microsoft Project Fast Track Turbo. So thank you very much for joining. I appreciate it. If you got any questions, hey, put them in the comments afterwards. I'll be more than happy to answer the questions. But I want to give a shout out to my buddy Joel. Joel got certified in what was it, Joel? 2018, 2018, I think, or maybe even 2017. Yeah, it's been a while. Good to see you. And our friend Louisa who came through. And let's see, I didn't go to LinkedIn because I got kicked out of that box on my friends on Instagram. Oh my goodness. I don't know if the Instagram is still running because I got kicked off the entire meeting. So I'm sorry about that. If you were on Instagram watching and it just rudely kicked you off, I'm very sorry about that. Let me go back and see if anyone is on LinkedIn that I didn't see. Okay. Thank you very much, Joel. I see some other chats I hadn't seen prior. Awesome. All right, my friends, you take care. Hey, if anyone ever tells you Microsoft Project is difficult, say, no, it's not. There's this guy who showed us how to use it in 15 minutes. Go watch the video. If you want training for your company, like some of you do, hit me up. I will not object. I love training. You can see I love training this stuff. Okay. Enough said. Enough of the promo. You take care, and I'll see you again very soon. All the best, and have a wonderful 2025. Okay? I don't see any questions, so I'm going to assume there are none. No questions? All right. Bye for now. Over.